Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giant football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob. Let's get this corner down on the road.
Oh, yes, let's go.
Hey.
So today, guys, we are going to do the last episode on the corners of this upcoming draft here, much to John Anderson's chagrin if he's watching, because he's already commenting, enough of the corners. Listen, this is probably the most important position in the draft for the New York Giants. We do not have a CB2. I know some people will say we have Aaron Robinson still. I wasn't sure on him before the injury. I sure as hell ain't now that he was injured all last year as well, on top of that. And Adoree Jackson is signed for one more year, folks. After this, after next year, going next year, basically we have no solid corners. This is an important position in this draft here. But before we get breaking down our top 20 corners, we do, of course, have, as always for you guys, some Giants news.
It's time for the news.
And the big news today, guys, Saquon Barley will not get the voluntary workouts when they begin because he will not sign his franchise tag. There's a very key word I just said. Voluntary. He didn't have to go. Even if he was signed, he didn't have to go. I don't know why anybody's shocked by this, but I see people blowing up all over Twitter. Oh my God. And people on Facebook. I can't believe this guy is not coming to the mini camps. They're voluntary. Nobody wants to go to these things. It's the same coaching staff. It's not like last year where you're learning a brand new playbook and all.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what the hype is that you just saw a whole bunch of other players from the New York Giants get together in a non-voluntary, non-coaches thing just to go out to Arizona.
And he was there.
Yeah, so
he's there. So, he plans on being a Giant. He's just, until he signs that franchise tag, he's not allowed to go to team activities and practices. And he doesn't want to sign it because he wants a long-term deal. And if you look at, the reports coming out now, Fox Sports' Ralph Falciano is saying that the Giants don't have much interest at all in doing a long-term deal with him. And can you blame them? The guy's wanting $14, $15 million a year. They already offered only 12.5, like 13 million. They already got him on the hook this year for 10. Why would they need to pay him all this extra? They don't have any money.
Like, why? And then for what? To put him on a 2-year deal when they could just do this again next year?
Exactly.
Or they possibly could pay him a little bit more next year once maybe he realizes that he's on the bad side of 20.
It's time for the news.
My keyboard got hit there. We've got the news starting again. But yeah, no, you're 100% right there. I mean, he's getting, I wouldn't say old in running back years, but he's going to year 6. That's getting to where and he already had his years of because of injuries.
Yeah.
So do you want to keep on hoping this guy's going to stay healthy and paying him like a top 5 running back when history has shown he's not always a top 5 running back?
I mean, he was twice out of 5 years. But
yeah, that's 40%. That's not a good ratio.
I know. That's what I was about to get at.
Now, I might not be the best person at math ever, but I think that's pretty low percentage. I think that's less than half. I'm pretty sure.
It's something right around there. Let there be light.
Let there be light. Yeah, I forgot to turn one of the lights on. So the other thing is now they're saying Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dex, is also not going to show up for camp because he wants his money. He wants his extension. And y'all know where I stand on that one. Repeat the performance. I'll be happy to pay you.
I was about to say, like, you can want all that money you want, but at the same time, you're still in the contract to play that 5th year.
Exactly.
And you know what? You play like you did last year, you're going to make a buttload of money.
Listen, repeat that performance. I'll pay you like a top 5 defensive tackle all day long. But you're not going to Leonard Williams me. You're not going to Leonard Williams me. We're going to have one good year, and then that was your career year. That's what we did. We paid Leonard Williams off a career year. He's sitting there with $36 million against the cap this year for us. And he's just not as good as a $36 million player. Not that many are. But he's not the best defensive tackle in football, which is how we're paying him now.
Yeah.
We're paying him Aaron Donald money. So.
And should we do that twice?
Exactly. Those who did not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So let's not repeat it.
Are doomed to pay their defensive.
Yeah, are doomed to have no money in the cap.
Yeah.
We're faulty with the cap next year. We lose all the money we're losing right now in Kenny Golladay because I know we cut him, but we're still got a ton of money on the books for him. We get rid of that $30-some-odd million that we're giving Leonard Williams right there. We just saved, $40-50 million right there on the cap. Just those two moves right there, plus the cap obviously will go up. So if he wants a deal again, show us that you're still the same guy as you were last year this year. And I got no problem giving you one, a big contract to them. And during the season, even, I don't need to see it the whole season. I just need to see like the first couple of weeks that it's okay. This is still the same Dexter Lawrence. And if that's the case, then pay the man. Pay him. He's worth it.
Yeah, get quarter through the season. Let's see 4 games out of you. You see how well you play.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime he's under contract, we have no reason to have to pay him. So yeah, I'm not paying him. Point blank. And I hope Joe Shane, puts his line in the sand and says point blank, okay, fine. You don't want to come to the, the voluntary. Well, guess what? Eventually they're going to turn to mandatory, and you know what that means. So be there.
Yeah.
That's all there's to it. Take your time off.
At the same time, you don't want to show up to the voluntary because you want to make money, but you don't want to practice with the team you're going to play all with next year to get in a groove to make yourself look that much better. Well,
we're talking about practice here.
Practice.
I mean, like I said, these two guys I'm not as concerned with because they were on the team last year.
They have the
same
talent.
Offense and defense. Exactly. They have the talent. Both of them will be probably more likely to be healthy when the start of the year comes because they don't, participate in some of this voluntary stuff. I'm fine with that. I have no issues with it whatsoever. Just be there when it's mandatory, and don't let this be a distraction for the team overall. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Simple.
So I'm going to boycott practice outside the field.
Yeah, just like I said, just do the right thing when it counts.
Pay us.
So we do have some NFL draft news with the Giants. We've talked about all the wide receivers they're bringing in. Like every single person who's potentially a number one pick as a wide receiver has come into the Giants and talked with them at least once. The one name that might sneak into the end of the first round at wide receiver, I hadn't heard anything definite yet. I've heard rumors, but nothing definite yet until now. Jalen Hyatt has officially visited with the New York Giants, the one-trick pony himself from Tennessee, who's basically, like I told you guys in this show, I'm comparing him to Darius Slayton, is what he is. He's a 9-route guy who depends on speed, plays out of the slot, and just zips in the field and runs past his corner. It's a one-trick pony. It's a damn good trick.
But we got a lot of slots. We're like Vegas.
Slots everywhere.
Yeah.
What part of Vegas? What part of Vegas? The ranch or the casino?
Well, I guess casino. If we're not Vegas. Well, the Raiders, Vegas.
Alrighty. So we do also have for you guys there a little tiny bit of NFL news here before we get started with these corners. Just a smidgen. Alrighty. So the first thing is obviously that one of the changes for us, the fans, this year is that the Sunday ticket is no longer going to be part of the DirecTV package. Already announced, we talked about this months ago, that it's going to go to the YouTube TV. So for those of you who already have YouTube TV, it's a really good deal. So it's going to be $349 for the season, $389 for the year with Red Zone. So if you don't, add $100. So you will be able to get it without getting YouTube TV. And I'm telling you this right now, we're going to be going live every single game. for you guys this season. And we're going to be literally doing shows with you guys throughout the entire game, talking about what's going on in the game. We'll be watching it on the Red Zone because being here in Florida, I don't have the other options at that point. I don't have the options of watching it on Fox or CBS. That's not a Tampa Bay thing at that point, unless we play a local team like the Dolphins. But I'll be at the stadium for that one.
I may be sneaking down there as well.
Listen, you should sneak out by all means. Go for it because listen, we show live from the actual stands. It'd be hilarious. Could you imagine that? StreamYard live on the we'll have to figure out.
From Miami.
That. I don't know if we can even do that on StreamYard here. Maybe like one of us has our phone for Facebook. When is the phone going live for YouTube? And we're just like, this is going. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, folks. Power banking it the whole way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, we'll be doing that with the Red Zone because honestly, there's Giant fans all over the country. So even if one of us didn't live here in Florida, it makes sense to do so everybody can watch it together. Other news, Lions traded for Jeff Okudah, the former first-round pick, the former supposedly can't-miss cornerback from Ohio State that everybody said was going to be like an amazing player and just hasn't been. In fact, they just got a fifth-round pick for him, so that just shows you how good he's been. A fifth-round pick. That's not a lot. It's kind of a throwaway. Yeah, also in news down here in Tampa Bay, linebacker Devin White has requested a trade. And I cannot tell you how many Giants sites I'm seeing already going, oh, should the Giants trade for Devin White? No! Why the hell would we trade for a guy who wants $20 million a year to play linebacker, can't cover anyone? I'll tell you, for those who aren't aware of the Bucs as much, being that I live in the area, I just hear nonstop, and I do talks of Bucs football and some other podcasts as well. I can tell you for a fact that Devin White cannot cover. A run-stopping linebacker is never worth $20 million. Never.
No.
Not to mention the fact we just paid Bobby Okereke $10 million. Why the hell we paid Devin White $20?
You get a much better talent for half the cost.
Yeah, and it just boggles the mind why people even. It's like they do these things just for clicks, guys. They do it just for clicks. Ignore the click people. Remember the people who try to mislead you, and just skip, unfollow, go away. That's what I always do.
Goofballs.
Yep, exactly. The goofballs will always steer you straight, which is a sad statement, but factual. We will tell you that people skipping voluntary workouts is no big deal. We will tell you that we are not going to be trading for Devin White. Listen, it doesn't make for as interesting a program as if we sit there and go, oh my God, for half an hour.
Yeah.
But guys, it's not happening, and it's no big deal. Don't worry about it. Chillax. That's all there is to it.
Chillax. Go do it.
When you want to come, a mighty tighty whitey and I'm smuggling plums. I had to go the Bloodhound Gang on you.
It's all good.
All righty, so let's get started with our top 20 corners here because, like I said, guys, this is a stacked class of corners this year. Like, this is no lie. You can get a starting quarterback in the third round, and it favors those who go into a press man cover system. Guess what we like? Guess what Wink does? Press man cover system. It's made for us. I'll be upset if we don't end up with two corners coming out of this draft because we should. Connor says, what did I miss besides bad singing? I don't know what bad singing you're talking about, Connor. We are spectacular. We are. I'll have you know that Rob and I actually do another podcast about singing songs from the 70s.
Oh, the Bee Gees karaoke's on Tuesday nights.
Yep. Hashtag we're staying alive.
Yeah.
So anyway, number 20 is Kai Blackman, USC. Formerly, before that, Colorado. He played for 4 years as well. 5'11", 178 pounds, 31-inch arms. Outside corner, versatile, can pretty much play in any system there is. High IQ, can fit into any type of defense, though, is the really big thing. I've seen him in zone. I've seen him in man. I've seen him in press, off man. I've seen him in cover 2, cover 3. I mean, this guy goes everywhere with no problem whatsoever. I do think he's going to be best as a slot corner in the NFL because of his weight. Like I said, 178 pounds. And even in college, I did see him getting beat up a little bit by some of the outside receivers. Not to say he was scared of that. Like, he'll go toe for toe as best he can, but he didn't necessarily win the battles because he's just not the strongest one. Also had some injury issues as well. So I see him going 4, round 5. Somebody looking for some depth at the nickel corner kind of position. That's where I think he's best suited.
Yeah, he's probably about, like, I would say in the early 5th round. I mean, he tracks and adjusts to deep ball as well. He stays in face and squeezes tight to roots. But the thing is, like, his hips they're more square than fluid, if you will. And he's kind of like really grabby and pulley when he's like about to get beat, which I don't like.
A lot of grabby, pulley, and hip talk going on here.
Grabby, pulley. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely got the talent to be CB2 in this league, and he'll probably be.
Like I said, I think a nickel dime kind of cover guy is what he's going to be, and I think that's where he's at.
Yeah, I agree.
All righty.
Up next,
number 19.
19.
Go for it, Rob.
Jaquorian Bennett out of Maryland.
Jaquorian Bennett.
Oh my God, what's going on with my notes here?
Where's you going with your notes?
Yeah, sorry. He's
you memorize all of your notes. Memorize them all.
I'm sorry.
It's only 20 players each episode.
Yeah, holy. So he's 180 pounds, 5'11". It's not exactly the biggest guy. His reach is just shy of 32 inches per arm, which is 31 and 7/8. And his hand is 9 and 1/16, which I guess whatever. Give everyone 1/16. He's a little fast, but
1/16 of an inch matters.
That's what she said.
No, it's not.
Right?
I wish she said it. I wish she would say it.
He's got a 4.3 in his 40-yard dash. I mean, this guy's he's well built for the NFL, I think, even though, like, I don't think he's that statue. Like, I think his just physical presence goes a long way. He's got loose and rapid hips. You know what I mean? In those hips, baby. He's got 27 defensive catches, which is fantastic. And he'll also go downhill against the run. But he also lacks presence in mirror and press coverage. So, like, he's good. He's probably like a round 4 kind of guy. His recovery burst is like very average. Like, he doesn't put the burners on if he gets beat.
Yeah.
So.
You know, and I think the thing I saw with him as I'm watching is I think he's going to be more of a free safety in the league, to be honest. I don't see him as an actual corner. You know, he's got a high IQ. He doesn't have hip movement very well, which means he should start further back in the field, which is right where the free safety would start. He doesn't have the long speed is the one concern I have, but if you start farther back, you can at least recoup some of that, you know? So that's what I personally think. He's going to be drafted as a corner. Someone's going to try him as a corner.
And probably move to the safety. I
do think eventually, yeah. And it kind of reminds me of like when we drafted Julian Love. Not to be bring up a bad topic here, considering we lost him to Seattle there. But it's almost like we signed him. He was a corner at Notre Dame. He wasn't a safety. We converted him to safety because we saw that he was a better fit at that position in the NFL. I think it's the same kind of thing with Jaquorian Bennett. I think he's going to be a safety all day long. But I would say it's going to be someone's going to grab him in the 4th round, try him as a corner, move him over to safety, or use him as a Swiss Army knife guy where he just kind of moves with the field.
Yeah, beef him up a little bit more.
Beefcake.
Closer to 200 pounds.
All righty. So number 18. Number 18, Elias Ricks out of Alabama. Also played a couple years at LSU as well. 6'2", 188 pounds, 32 and 3/8 inch arm reach there. I do think he's a guy that I don't want for us specifically. He's much more of a zone cover 2, cover 3 kind of guy. He did play some press in college, but I just don't think I've seen it enough that I'm confident taking him to be a potential corner for us. Good ball instincts, but just never lived up to the hype. I felt like injured all the time, especially when he moved over from LSU to Alabama. They thought they got a steal here. I would say for somebody who's a zone coverage, you're going to see him as like a 4th-round pick, and I think somebody's going to take the shot and see if they can develop him, get him healthy, and see what happens.
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there.
That's what I do. I'm like a hammer. Can't touch this. Do. Take that, Connor.
I mean, like you said, he's his own guy. Like he's only got 5 career interceptions.
Yeah,
but he also had 2 of those for a return touchdown, so which is nice. But I mean, when you're talking about a career,
yeah. Like I said, and this is why he's down where he's down. Like I said, he's gonna have a career in the league. Don't get me wrong, but he's gonna have a career in the league for somebody who prefers more of his own scheme. That's what it just boils down to. We got a couple of comments here before we move on to number 17. King Chris TV. Chris, good to see you again, man. He says, do you think Ringo moves to safety too? You know, we're going to get to that later on because if you notice, we haven't talked about him. He's a little further down the line here. But again, listen, anytime you get a corner drafted, there's always the thought of, is he better as a safety? Because some guys just better as a corner in college, but not so much in not so much there in the pros there. Connor comes in with, ever notice girls complain about size, whether it's smaller or bigger, yet we have to be satisfied no matter how big the tunnel is. LOL. Okay. Somehow I don't think he's talking about driving with that tunnel. On that note, number 17, Rob.
Not everyone wants to drive a car down the Freight Line tunnel.
Listen, as long as you're not trying to drive a tractor trailer through a Little Tykes tunnel, you're good, okay?
There you go. All right, I'm having fun this week. Rajon,
right? All the fun one. Rajon, almost like French. Rajon Wright.
Would you like a croissant with that? Sorry, Oregon State senior 6'2", 193. You know what? Shane has already talked about the kind of body he wants. He wants that long-reaching 32-inch arms, which is fantastic. This guy's 32.5-inch arms. Mm-hmm. And his hand is 5.5 inches, 5 5/8 inches. So he's got a good build to him. He's got a good arm reach. He's got control around the vicinity. He's got awesome movement down the field with the length. He's able to do quick acceleration when charging directions with lateral brakes. Oh, jeez.
What? I hear, oh, jeez. Oh, no. What happened?
My notes again.
Your notes again. Well,
yeah.
Here, I'll give you a couple
great recovery. He's got great recovery when it comes down.
As you recover, he's got great recovery.
He's got great recovery. See that segue there? Boom.
Boom. That's what the
pros do, speed guys.
Take notes, everybody listening.
Yeah. So if he thinks he plays a vertical and it goes to a slant and goes to like a hook, he does have great recovery to turn around and accelerate back to the ball. But that being said, sometimes he's inconsistent with his route squeeze off the coverages. Sometimes he's too eager to play the short route. So,
we'd be remiss also not to mention his brother, Rajon Wright, who plays for the Cowboys at corner as well. So he's got the bloodlines of somebody who's made it in the NFL, at least in the short term, even though he made a crappy choice on what team to play with. But I don't know if you got a chance to watch. He played USC and I got a chance to see some Jordan Addison, who obviously will be probably a late first-round pick here, and Rajon Wright go at it against each other. And I'm telling you, it was actually pretty good tape to show what Wright can do. He looked pretty good. Keep in mind, we talked about Addison has the trouble of, top long-term speed. That's also an issue that Wright has. So they kind of played into each other's strengths to a certain degree there. The only other issue I have with him is he does also miss some tackles. I have seen that. But I mean, I think he's somebody that you're going to see go in like the 4th round. Sometimes they take a shot, see if they can develop him into an outside corner. But he's not going to be the guy that's going to step right in right away. They're going to have him sit on the bench for a year or two and see if they can, like I said, develop him into a starting outside corner, or have him be a guy who can step in if there's any kind of major injury.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So before we get to the next one, we got a comment from Connor. It's Ala effing Bama. Have you not watched My Cousin Vinny? Hold on here.
What's a
You think these Jersey boys have not watched Cousin Vinny, okay? You Utes.
Yeah, excuse me. What is a Ute?
Utes. Sheesh. Listen, Rob and I grew up down the street from where Joe Pesci lives, okay? He lives right in Homedale, New Jersey. Like right down the street, okay? That's our neck of the woods. All righty. Next up, we have Keichel Clark out of Louisville, number 16. 5'10", 181 pounds, 29 and 5/8 inch arms. So not the longest arms in the world. I think he's going to project more as a slot nickel kind of corner. Very scheme versatile, though. I've seen him do a man, seen him do his own. Not afraid to tackle. The guy raps. Like, you notice when he said, watch some of these smaller corners, they just kind of go for it and just kind of like lunge into them and hope the guy falls down. No, this guy wraps up his arms 100% and tackles the right way. And he's not afraid to go for the ball. Like whether it's go for the fumble, go for the pick, the guy understands the importance of getting turnovers. He also had the second best 20-yard shuttle time at the combine. So what does that show? Very shifty. The guy can change direction pretty quickly there. He's got a great attitude. And like I said, the only issue I have with him really is three things here. I'll give you. One, I already said, I think he's going to be more of an inside guy. Can't play the outside. He'll get beat because of the lack of strength and the lack of long speed. Comes from a very smaller school, obviously, with Louisville. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he played at East Texas Christian University of Polytechnical Institute, but it's like Louisville's not the SEC. It's still not one of those bigger conferences at that point. It's kind of one of the B tier conferences. He also tore an ACL in 21. That always scares me, just being a Giant fan. Same thing. I got like a round pick on him. I think someone's going to pick him up to be a starting slot corner for them eventually. And I think, like I said, I think he's going to do pretty good. Honestly, I like the tape on him. He looks pretty good, and I like the fact that he is versatile, so he can go ahead and do some stuff there. You know? Yeah,
he was great. You know me and my hips. He's able to sink the hips to face a comeback on a lot of routes. So he does well. He's got a great burst at top end speeds. Just like you said with the shuttle too. Like he's able to zig and zag.
I wonder if when they did a shuttle, did they do a shuttle like we did as kids, where they got to pick up racers up off the gym floor? Because that was awesome.
And then back in the clap day? Them out.
Oh yeah, clap on.
Clap off. But like you said, he had the ACL injury in 2021, 2022. His slot, he looked a little uncomfortable there at times.
That's going to happen though. I mean, the year after the ACL injury, you never look at. I know. I just got to point it out.
Yeah,
I just got to point it out.
And also, like, he's missed out on a couple interceptions due to his lack of size.
Yeah,
so I'll point that out too. He's got those little T-Rex arms, which I know all about. Yeah, it's great for push-ups though.
All right, number 15.
Alex Austin. That was hard. Oregon State.
You got an easy name,
right? It's another guy that Shane would like. 6'1", 195 pounds, arm length 31 and 7/8 of an inch. Hands 8.5 inches. His production score in the combine was ranked 30th. Like he's an average athlete. Doesn't mean he's not able to produce. So what do I mean by that? His speed's not the best when it comes out. He's got excellent field awareness, though. And he communicates in space and overlaps coverage to make plays. So, like, he's out there and he's making up for his lack of athleticism with talent and skill.
Yeah. He makes up for his physicality, too. I mean, the guy's extremely competitive. We talked about in the last couple episodes how I like seeing a corner that shows a little attitude, gets ticked off point blank when somebody catches it, gets excited when he knocks the ball down. This is that guy. Very competitive, very physical, and like you said, perfect size for a corner. He's very handsy, though, is the one thing that makes me a little concerned, because he does that, though, because of the fact that he doesn't have the speed. But in a press man corner, like we're looking for, that could be a potentially good thing. We also saw a couple of times in some of the longer routes that did see him lose track a little bit as well, where he started off nice and tight against the receiver, And then as it went
speed.
on, and it wasn't even the speed. It wasn't like he lost them like forward, backwards. He lost them left and right, where there's a little bit more separation, and that made the receiver get more open. But I mean, I see him like a round 4, possibly even sneak into a round 3 kind of guy. And I got to say, how weird is it to have 2 corners already from Oregon State?
Yeah.
That's not the usual spot you think of for NFL talent. Oregon State. Don't get me wrong, it happens. I'm not saying no one ever comes out of it, but 2 guys at Oregon State, the Beavers. The Beavers are showing up here.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Save our Beavers.
Alrighty. Number 14. Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami. 6 foot tall, 198 pounds, 32 3/8 inch arm length. Outside press man scheme guy. Hey, sound familiar guy? What are we looking for? For? Outside press man. Prototypical size too as well. Aggressive, fiery. This is a guy like, when you watch on the field and you see that one guy that's going up and down the sidelines going crazy and firing everybody up. This is the guy that's going to do that. He is that kind of player. This guy plays with such emotion, it's not even funny. Physical tackler. The biggest issues that I saw with him, one is not even an issue for us, but I'm going to list 2 issues. He's got very tight hips, especially when moving out from the back pedal. You can see he's not twisting quite like you'd like him to do. I'm hoping with some coaching we can get that taken care of. He's very also scheme specific. You have to be a press man cover scheme to make sense for you to draft this guy. If you're not, you're wasting what is his best skill. But again, what are we? Press man cover. I have him like a round 3 grade, and I think if we got him, he's a perfect guy that, let's assume we do what I say and get 2 corners. One very early, one like 3rd, 4th. This is a guy you can have for a backup and for whenever Adoree Jackson gets injured, because it's going to happen. It's every year it happens. And then eventually, because like I told you guys before, we haven't talked extension with Adoree yet. So I think Adoree's going to be out the door after next year. So see what I did there? So, it's a guy you could eventually, be trained to be his replacement there and have your 2 starting wide receivers 2 starting corners out of this draft. So again, round 3, and I think he's a smart pickup for us, depending on what's available and what we do the rest of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, he also might be there in the early 4th. So I'm not too crazy about it, about the 3rd round pick on him, but I'm also not against it. He's a springy leaper. He has for hands to break up catches, which is nice. The only thing is he takes inconsistent angles for run support. So it's like he doesn't know where he's coming at for the run support.
Yeah.
Where we get beat.
Yep. Well, hopefully having a linebacker this year will help with that.
Hopefully. That'd be great.
We basically didn't have one last year at all. Might as well just forfeited the position, having one less man on the field. All righty. Right. Number 13.
Tyvis Hodgins Tomlinson.
Travius Hodges Tomlinson.
Butchered.
It's funny how the last time you got all the easy names, and this time, nope, can't give you the easy ones.
Now I'm bushing
can't give you easy. Your next one's easy. Don't worry. I looked ahead. Looked ahead.
I look at it. He's a senior at TCU. He's a smaller guy, so I don't know if he's very talented, but I don't know if he's Giants material out of what they've said. He's 5'8", 178 pounds. He's got
doesn't sound very giant at all.
No. Or Titan. Sounds like a cardinal. His arm length is 29 inches. So it's not quite the biggest guy. But that being said, he's got a great dash of 4.41. He's explosive. He's twitchy. He's agile. And he's very competitive when he's in there. He's only allowed 34.6% of completion rate targets him last season's according to PFF. All right, he's got 7 feet movement. He's able to slide and release. Slide and release.
Slide, release.
Yeah,
slide, release. It sounds like one of those dances like where they tell you what to do. Like step one, step two, slide, release.
But when you talk about like his downfalls, like I already said, he's not a big guy. He's not a giant. He's not a titan. Sometimes his back pedal is too upright, and he kind of tells you he kind of goes to where he's going to go before he even goes there. Yeah. And then sometimes he's overemphasized his
we got to talk about his uncle too. His uncle is the other LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. That's so his mother is LT's sister. Oh. So we got some NFL bloodlines going on, and I'm calling it right now, guys. Every so often, I like to make a total ass of myself by saying something that's outlandish. I'm going to say it. This is the best slot corner in the entire draft. This is the guy that if you want to have somebody that you can put in the middle and cover whoever's in the slot and let your outside guys be your outside guys and not have to worry about bringing one of them in because there's a really good receiver that plays slot for whatever team you're facing, this is the guy. He is a shutdown man corner in college. The only issue, as Rob said, is his size. He's really tiny.
Tiny mouse.
He is really tiny, but this kid plays with such heart, it's not even funny. And you have to think that he and this is going to sound a little messed up potentially, and I might tick somebody off when I say this, but I don't care. You get some of these kids that come from NFL families, and whether it was, obviously in this case, it's his uncle, not even his parent, but there had to be some money, obviously, for him growing up. LT, I would hope, would not be letting his sister live in, some shack with the roof leaking, that kind of scenario. So sometimes you get these kids that come from some money and they don't have that kind of heart and that kind of passion because they're not counting on it. It's not like when you watch this week when you see, like Kayvon Thibodeau, like talking about how he grew up and buying his mom a house and how much that meant to him. This is not that kind of scenario. But this kid plays with such fire and such passion. I'm telling you, I was hooked watching this guy. Hooked.
He's got a little Napoleon syndrome going on.
Yeah, it's the problem. If he was, I'm telling you right now, if he was even 4 feet taller, okay.
4 feet taller?
4 feet taller, yes. He was 9 feet tall. No, I mean, sorry, 4 inches taller and 20 more pounds on him. He'd probably be the best corner in the draft. That's how much I like him. He's shut down. That's the one thing that's killing him. So he's going to go to a slot position to and I'm telling you, whoever gets him is going to get a guy that's going to say, that guy in the middle, we don't got to worry about him. That guy's got him. That's how good he's going to be. But I think he'll go in the third round probably, unless somebody else thinks like me and takes him like late second round. But I think third round is probably where he'll go. And like I said, whoever gets him is going to get a guy who can cover anybody in that slot position.
Yeah.
Even the car agrees with me.
Yeah.
All righty. Number 12. Garrett Williams out of Syracuse. 5'11", 192 pounds, 31-inch arms. This is another Giants need to avoid like the plague kind of guy because he is a purely zone corner. Pure zone. This is another guy that because he's coming off an ACL tear that happened mid-season as well, if he loses a step, this is another guy who I could see possibly converting over to safety. And he'd probably do a hell of a job because I watched this kid doing a lot of special things in college. He's a good corner. When I say that's not for the Giants, that's not me knocking him. It just doesn't fit the system. It's a square peg in a round hole. But he's a good player overall. He's very smart, great processor. But he counts on his brains, not his body, because he's not the most athletic in the world. But we need to see his medical as far as to know that whoever was to go draft him, I shouldn't say we, because not we. Giants don't draft him.
Yeah.
But I mean, the interesting thing is, where do you pick a guy who is coming off an ACL, may not be much of a player next year, as we talked about earlier, how it takes a full year to get back. Might not be this year, but next year, 2024, that you really see what you got in him. But I think someone's going to take the shot in him in like the third round. And I'm telling you, if they got a zone coverage scheme like that, he's going to be a player that I'm not going to regret getting. He'll be a starting caliber corner in this league, no doubt.
Yeah, he's the type of guy that if he did not have that injury, he probably would have went in the second round.
Maybe even earlier. He might even be late first. He was that good beforehand.
Yeah. So, and like you said, he's got a football IQ. He understands the ball. He can probably switch over to safety, which is not the first thing you want to do. But you're gonna have to draft this guy for his zone, and if he doesn't make it in there, you might want to try him in the safety if you need him.
Oh, listen, if he loses a step because of the surgery, he will be a great safety. I'm telling you right now. Just watching the way he saw things happen, like he's watching the play and he sees what's happening. He's got that kind of ability.
Oh yeah, he if you watch him, he's got a great balance between the quarterback's eyes, like where he's going to go, and the route that the receiver's running. And he's able to figure it out and use that ability to stop the ball in the zone.
Oh yeah,
so he's fantastic. And then
fantastico.
He's a fantastico. But
so we have it from Twitch. Hi, I want to offer you promotion of your channel, viewers, and follower chatbots. Why is all the Twitch people we get? I'm telling you, that comment are like, total scam artists. If anybody's legit watching us on Twitch, because we don't usually use Twitch, we just kind of throw it up there to see who we get. But it's funny how that always happens. Number 11, Rob.
Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel Forbes. Mississippi State.
Mississippi.
Mississippi. He's a junior.
Can you spell Mississippi?
Miss is I Sippy.
Come on, you got this, Rob.
I got you got this. M-I-S-S-I-P-P-I-P-P-I. He's 6'1", another tiny guy at 166 pounds.
He's so tiny. So tiny.
He needs to eat a cheeseburger.
He does.
He needs a little bit of the pasta and the meatballs. Right? His arm reach is 31 inches and a quarter. And his hand length is 8 inches and a half. This guy had a great production score in the combine. Super athletic. His 40-yard dash was 4.35. Right. Forbes is a great two-handed. He plays with a smooth side shuffle technique in the zone. So smooth. He's got above average pre-snap play recognition.
Smooth like Corinthian leather.
Yeah. It's like he could see the plays. He's so smooth.
Super smooth. Like the Zohan.
He's like the Zohan. He's really good at breaking up the pass with his arms before he gets there with that length. He's a good swatter, if you will. Right? He uses his length and effectiveness as a recovery tool. So like he's able to use his big, long, lengthy body if he's getting beat to get in front of the ball.
Yeah, I think the one issue with him is his size. If it wasn't for his size, this guy is a bona fide. Yeah, his weight specifically. He is a bona fide starting corner in this league, and he is easily a early day 2 kind of pick, if not even a late day 1. But
yeah,
I have to look at that size and say, and it's funny because I was just talking about Hodgins Tomlinson a minute ago and singing his praises, and I know he's outside of the realm size-wise, but I'm not looking at him as an outside corner. Emmanuel Forbes is much more of an outside corner the way he's played. And to play at 166 pounds, like, could you imagine if the Giants get him? We draft him, he's our number 1 corner. Let's say hypothetically Adoree Jackson's out or something. He's our number 1 corner. And he's got to go into A.J. Brown. He's going to toss him around like a rag doll.
Yeah. I mean, that's
absolutely
one of his downfalls of his college career is like his tackling. Like,
yeah.
Like he gets the tackles, but like it's hard for him because he lacks the strength at being such a small framed guy.
Yeah, and I just, like I said, that's the only reason I have him at number 11. If he was, I'll tell you right now, if he was a regular size corner there, I would probably have him between 5 and 7. He just dropped down because of the weight, and I don't know if he maybe can try to get some weight on him without killing his speed. But
that's it. It is hard at that size to be like NFL caliber weight. Like, what do you want him to be at? Like 190? He's got to put on 25 pounds Like
That's the problem.
That's definitely.
I think even if we put in like 15 pounds, he'd be enough where I wouldn't be as worried.
Yeah.
But you're still talking 15 pounds is still 15 pounds. That's still a good amount of weight for someone to put on. So, yeah,
and without expecting speed, he's going to need a lot longer than a few months before the season starts. He's going to need a couple of years. To put on like 20 pounds.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't like him because of the weight. If he could play the inside and I can sit there and say he's a slot guy, I'd be cool with it. See if he can gain some weight as he goes and develop better into an outside. But he's going to be an outside corner, and I just don't think he has the weight for it. I don't like outliers. I don't like somebody who doesn't fit the mold, so to speak, because there's a mold for a reason, guys. It's not to say you can't succeed, but it definitely says it's much harder to succeed. And this is too important a draft for us at this position for me to take a risk at somebody like that.
Yeah.
All righty. So, but like I said, I do think he'll go, like I said, probably round 2, round 3. All righty. So before we get started here, we do have a couple other comments here before we get to number 10 here. So we meet the halfway point here. So Connor says, wait, King Chris, Mingo can't go to safety. He's a wide receiver. No, Ringo, not Mingo, he meant. There's 2 different players. We'll get to him soon, Connor. As Connor says, also, off topic, if Saquon signs tag, is there a cutoff time where a team doesn't have to give 2 number 1 so we can trade him for maybe a 1 and a 2, 3, or 4? Listen, we can trade him at any point, Connor. That's the thing of it. If they want to sign him to a deal, that's when they have to give up the 2 number 1s. If he works out something and say, hey, so-and-so wants to pay me, I should talk to them or whatever, or the Giants just call up, or get a call from, let's say, I've heard the rumor of Buffalo. Let's say Buffalo calls up and says, hey, Joe, long time no talk. It's obviously Joe knows all of them. If they want to give a first-round pick and the Giants are okay with it, they can just make the trade. That's the rules. That's the way it goes. But, guys, we're not getting rid of Saquon. Saquon's staying put. I'm telling you that right now. Yeah. Saquon is not going anywhere whatsoever. As Dakota comes in with, hope you guys are doing good. Hope you're doing good as well, man.
Thanks,
he says, trade Saquon. Oh, that's what happens when we got the Eagle fan in. We can't trade him. He's too important to the offense. He just is, guys. It's listen, as much as I'm torn on how good he is in the end of the offense, because we've seen his backups do just as good as he has. And I know people hate when I say that, but it's the truth. Even this past year, he's still somebody the defenses have to watch and the defenses respect. So that's why we need him for right now. And we're not going to sign him long term because we're not going to hamstring the injury. That's for the because of an injury possibility for this team. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. All righty. On to number 10. Number 10, DJ Turner out of Michigan. Now, this is a guy that I cannot tell you how mixed the reviews are on this guy. I have seen some people say, like, he's overblown because of the combine and how good he did there. I've seen also, people talk about how he's like Chris Sims listed him as the 3rd best corner in this year's draft. Now, Chris Sims is one of those guys that goes against the norm, so to speak there. He doesn't look what anybody else did. He just kind of does his own thing. So, but that's the kind of range you're talking for this guy. I had him at 10 because, to be very frank, I don't care about combine all-stars. I care about your game tape. I look at your combine because it gives me an idea on how good your game tape's going to display in the NFL. But in the end, the tape matters more than anything else. So DJ Turner, like I said, out of Michigan, 5'11", 178 pounds, 30 and 3/4 inch arm length there. Outside, versatile, can play zone, can play man. 4.26 40 time at the combine, though. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the kind of speed this guy has. But he also gets bullied by bigger receivers. He counts on his speed 100% to be what helps him. He's also not a ball hawk. I have not seen him at all be that guy that runs down the ball at that point because he made a move. If he gets interception, it's because it basically hits him in the hands. It's not because he did something right. It's just that he just didn't do anything wrong. So, like I said, not a top corner to me. I think the speed is the big thing. It helps out. If you need a speedy guy and you have a physical guy on the side, then it works out great. Now, for the Giants, we have Adoree Jackson. He is the speedy corner. What we need is more of a physical corner for the other side. to combat that, to be the opposite, because you want that yin yang going at that point so you can match up to any team's number one, number two. Unless you want to draft him later on to be Adoree' eventual replacement, I could see that as a possibility. But honestly, I just didn't like the tape that much. I mean, I just wasn't that impressed. I didn't think he was that good. I think he's an underwear Olympics gold medalist, and that's what he is. So, that's not who I want. I want the guy who shows up on tape. I want to see the guy who crushes the competition.
Yeah, I don't think he was, like you said, it was his speed, and it was great hip control. His legs. It's almost like they had a mind of their own. Took over, but like you said, he was
his hips
there.
Don't lie.
Not they don't.
Shakira.
He flips them during his legs too. It's fantastic. But like you said, he might as well be running like this because he's not really trying to catch the ball.
Nope. Not trying to knock it down. Not trying to catch it.
Okay.
Yeah. I like I said, not my top guy there.
Yeah.
Alrighty. On to number 9 there. You always get the fun names here, Rob.
You're right. Caillou Blue Kelly.
There we go.
Woo! Did a first dance. People might know this guy from his old man, Brian Kelly.
Brian the dog from Family Guy?
Brian the dog. Or the former...
whose leg do I have to hump right here to get a dry martini?
Or the defensive back that played for the NFL for 11 seasons. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the one who got a ring with the one who got a ring with the Brad Johnson Bucks?
Yeah, pretty much. He's out of Stanford. Senior year, 191 pounds, 6 foot, arm length.
Pinky's out when you talk Stanford, okay? Pinky's out. There we go. Pinky's
Smart
out.
Guy.
Stanford University.
Smart guy. Big old hands, 9 inches.
He's a wise guy.
Oh, he's a wise guy, right? Hey, it's always better to be a smartass than a dumbass.
Yes, it is.
He started in each of his 4 seasons at Stanford. That's some football IQ right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He possesses some desired size and length for the outside corner, which is what you want to see, especially hopefully maybe with the Giants. He's above average leaper on jump balls.
It just sounds weird. Leaper. It sounds like you're like describing like a character in Frogger.
Yeah. Ribbit. Watch out for the 18-wheeler. But he's got good footwork and his pedals to match. So like some of the guys we talked about earlier, like the back pedal, some of the pedals like a little shaky. I do like moves his feet.
He's like No, I mean he's got everything as far as the motions you want. I mean, he's got the shiftiness. He makes that quick move when he has to. He's a ball hawk. He's great in press, which I keep on stressing because that's the big thing. Only things I saw downfall wise on him were that not a great run defender, not the best in longer routes because he's not the top end speed guy.
Like if he gets beat like off a little bit of a slant or a little bit of zig, it's hard for him to catch back up.
Zigzag.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, again, I got this guy as a 3rd round talent. Again, another guy that the Giants could pick up and I think would be a perfect fit for a Wings defense.
Yeah, you definitely teach him to coach out. You can definitely coach out some of his weaknesses there.
Yes.
All
righty. On to number 8. Clark Phillips the third. Esquire. Maybe not the Esquire. Utah, 5'9", 184 pounds. So outside versatile guy, but plays his best in man coverage, but he does play zone pretty decent as well. But like I said, better at the man coverage there. He's been a starter literally from day one as a freshman at Utah. And he's like a little chihuahua. I mean, for a 5'9" guy, he's tough for his size. He's it's kind of like we talked about with Hodges Tomlinson before, where you got the little guy who's just tenacious, but he's a little bigger than Hodges Tomlinson, and he does play outside, not inside. This is that kind of guy. But I do think that he's going to have some issue because he does get a little handsy to make up for some of the size difference there because he's got that Chihuahua mentality. He just like bites the people on the ankles or something. And then
this year.
it's also, again, because of the size, probably not a good tackler, but he's got good motions. He follows the receivers pretty well. He's definitely got the functions and the fluidity down right. I think he's going to be like a late second round, early third round kind of guy. And again, a guy that I think could fit our scheme pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, hands down. He's a student of the game. Like you said, he started all 4 years. He's able to read the quarterback and routes simultaneously, which, it's hard to teach that.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see. He's physical in tight quarters, but also could turn into penalties in the NFL, depending on how physical you get. So this guy definitely is going to be a third round guy. I do like him a lot.
Like I said, I think he's sneaking to second. I really do. I think he's that good.
Could.
I think someone's gonna potentially fall in love with this kid. Alrighty. Yeah. On to number 7.
7. Julius Brents out of Kansas State. 198 pounds, 6'3", with a 34-inch length in his arm. His hands and his hands are big too. 9 inches and 5/8. This man has a rare ability to be big and long and beautiful.
It's not that rare. I see it every night.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a little difference from
every morning in the shower as well.
Yeah. He's got a 6-pack, not just in the fridge.
I have a 6-pack if I just get rid of the layer of blubber above it.
Yeah. You got a 6-pack just in the cooler.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping it insulated.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's great. He's great at spotting the quarterback from side to side shuffles. He's able to digest route combinations almost from everywhere. He's able to catch space in deep sideline throws. He's aggressive in run support. He's got great jumps and on high point battles for the balls. Like if it's thrown up high, he's got a great opportunity to get rid of that ball from getting from the receiver receiving it, if you will.
Getting recepted.
Yeah, getting recepted.
Yeah.
The only thing with him, sometimes he's a little jumpy. He get juked out of his play.
But that makes sense to make you jump. Yeah.
He'd be like, huh.
Well, here's the biggest. You gotta bring up the biggest downfall with him, at least for us. He's a zone guy, pure zone. He's his cover 2, cover 3 zone corner, so he's not a fit at all for our defense. But I'll say this: he is the best pure zone corner in this draft. I loved watching his tape. I was extremely impressed watching what he did. And if we had a zone defense, I'd be pounding the table right now for us to draft him in the second round and not risk losing him, because I think he's that good. And I think whoever gets him is going to get a freaking steal in this draft, because the only reason he's going to go round 2, round 3 is because he's dependent on a zone scheme. If he was a versatile guy who played in both zone or press, he'd probably be a first round talent. He's that good.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah. So, I mean, the speed is the issue as well with him, but good tackler, sees everything, and that's what I couldn't believe. This guy jumps routes, jumps runs. I mean, it's crazy to see how well this man sees everything. Like, if this man's not a coach later on when his days are over, I'll be shocked. He's got that kind of ability.
You're going to see that in the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah, like he'll be the next head coach of like the Tennessee Titans or something. Like, all righty, on to number 6.
We're almost
Deontay Banks out of Maryland, 6 foot even, 197, 31 3/8 inch arms. Outside mostly cover 3, but did do some man coverage as well. And I see a lot of Giants that are mocking us with this guy in the second round here. I've even seen a couple people in the first round even go with this guy. But like I said, he's done a lot more zone than he has done man, but he can do man. He's proven that in college. So I think people are hoping that translates. Whereas I'll tell you point blank, again, just because that's a scheme in college doesn't mean you can't do it in the pros. I want for the Giants, because of how important a draft this is for corners, I want a guy who did it primarily in college, because there's enough of them that I don't need to feel the need to project that some guy can do this in the pros. I want to see it for a couple years in college. The crazy thing on him also is he wasn't even a top corner in this draft class until the combine. Another, gold medal for the underwear Olympics here. He's also not a ball hawk, but he does have good IQ to knock the ball down, but he doesn't go for the actual interception itself. High football IQ overall, but he's a bit grabby if beat. I've seen a lot of penalties on his way for that. Also, to me, he's not the best in press. When he was in man, I think he was better when he was an off man. But if you threw him right at the line and put him in a press cover kind of situation, he didn't go ahead and handle his business, which is a little crazy because he's got the size to do it. But for whatever reason, just wasn't able to do it. I don't know if it's just a little bit short on the arm length, or just not as strong and it's more leg muscles he has than upper body. Because again, 197 pounds, he should have the body to do it.
He should, but he's like all lower half. He looks like Sonic the Hedgehog's running.
And another guy too that also gets lost in the long routes there. I do think he'll be a late first to a mid-second round, because I think someone's going to love the potential they saw at the combine. I just hope it's not the Giants, because again, I don't want the guy who wins the underwear Olympics. I want the guy that wins the college. That's what I want.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, what else can you say about this guy? Like, he looks like he's got bionic legs when he's going down. Like, it just moves like AI in a computer. It's like, he's off
whenever he gets injured, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
The $6 billion man.
Steve Austin, not to be confused with Stone Cold.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Austin 316 says you better draft a corner that fits your defense.
What?
What was that? That was even Stone Cold. That was what's his name? Ja Rule. Remember that guy from like 20 years ago? Every song he would on, like, just like guy said he smoked like 5 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah,
a tooth for a tooth.
I don't remember that one.
I don't know. I'm just making things up now. I can't remember that anything he did except for that "What's Love Got to Do." With
I was about to say.
That's the only I can remember off the top of my head. But he was always that guy that popped onto random songs and just was. I
would rather with 25 cigarettes in my mouth.
I love Newports. Alrighty. Next up, number 5. And this will make King Chris here happy.
Yes, Kali Ringo, sophomore.
Not to be confused with the drummer of the Beatles. This is not the drummer of the Beatles, in case there's any confusion.
No glasses here. He's a sophomore out of Georgia, 6'2", 207 pounds. His arm length is 31 inches and a quarter. His hand is 8.5 inches. This guy ran a 4.36. So he's got some speed on him. He's got some size on him.
It's speedy.
Some people say that's some elite size and strength. He's an outside corner, stays low and bounces in the back pedal, which what have we been saying up to this point? Those back pedals, a lot of these guys, as elite as they are, they need some work on that.
Yep.
Yeah, he's physical. He grinds on a press and release. Like he's down there. He plays. It looks like natural to him. It's like effortless.
Yep.
It's like playing man in a pro. Like
yeah. I mean, he's got every single physical tool you could ask for as well. Like you said, he's got the size, he's got the speed, but he's been so inconsistent at his time in Georgia. And, I think this is one of those cases where the interview process is what's so important, because it's like, why is he inconsistent? Is he having issues with something specific on the field? Is it a passion issue? I hate to ever question someone's passion for the game, but
it's I mean, from what I'm seeing, like it's almost like a lack of patience. So
yeah,
he's got the ego thing going on, which I mean, it's okay at the point, but like you also have to have patience. That's why I said like you don't want to get too upset, and you don't want your ego to mess up and get in your head. And I don't know if that's what's happened to this guy. Maybe
yeah, I
he
just
went to a yoga resort or something.
yeah, I just like I said, I'm just not sure if that's who I really want to look at. I mean,
I like him, if we're gonna be honest.
like I said, I think he's going to be a boomer bust kind of guy, and that's what scares me about him more than anything else. And I'm just going to say, who's the last corner we drafted out of Georgia? DeAndre Baker. I rest my case. Like I said, I put him up high because honestly, he has the potential to be an amazing shutdown corner. He really does. But this is like we talked about Quentin Johnston there, where we talked about how this guy's a boomer bust. He's got the big ceiling. He's got the low floor. This is the Quentin Johnston of the CB world to me. Either they're going to fix whatever's wrong with him and get him consistent to where he's playing the top end, or they're going to figure out what he has trouble with in the NFL, and they're just going to go after him nonstop and beat the crap out of him. One of those two scenarios. So, yeah, I do think that, like I said, I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's boom or bust, and it's a matter of whoever gets him. I hope for their sake it's boom, unless it goes to somebody else in the NFC East. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him because I can see either one happening, 100%. Up, you muted yourself, Rob.
I did.
There you go. I unmuted you. I unmuted you.
I think you muted me in the first place, you jerk.
I did not mute you.
I think you like muting me, Drew.
Here we go. It's two giant goofballs with one being muted.
Hey. The host is muted my podcast.
Off with his head. Alrighty, so we got the top four left, guys. And before we go over the top four, because that'll be a nice quick one, we've already gone over these guys individually in the last two episodes. So if you guys have any questions about those specific guys, let's go to the last two episodes. They're available. We got a couple more comments there. Dakota, who already said he was leaving here after one of his comments there, but he did say after Connor said, I'd trade him, Dakota says, it can only benefit you. Trade to Texans, which I think would be, I don't think the Texans want anything to do with him whatsoever. They already got a good younger running back who's on a rookie deal. They're good.
Yeah.
Connor says, get what we can fit him so we can get more quality players or backups. And Dakota says they have a two-headed beast until next year. They draft Caleb Williams. I think they're going to draft, a quarterback, one of the big two this year, since they have the second overall pick. He says C. Sims is a failure. He was as a player. He's not a bad analyst. I'll say this. He says some off-the-wall things that actually do come true. And then he says, have a good night, fellas. Connor says, Drew, get rid of Gnome. They scary. What does that little placard below the gnome say with football on it? Below the placard? I don't know which one he's talking about. This one here, I'm assuming. Connor, if you're still with us, you can verify. That just says New York Giants. This one here, maybe? Oh, is this one maybe? Maybe this is the one he's talking about right here. Maybe. So that one says, we interrupt this marriage for football season. So, and he says, Roberto, you need New York Giant drapes or New York Giant stuff in the wall or wear by Giants do-rag on your head. I think that all started because we were doing Ja Rule. I think that's what happened.
You're right.
All righty, guys. So on to our top four here to go ahead and list who we had from the first couple. I'll put one on now. Don't do it. No.
I can't do it. I got it.
It looked like you were getting ready to work in the kitchen. All righty. Number 4, Rob. We'll go this one quick. We've already gone over the issues on the pros and cons of these guys, but let's do our top 4.
Let's do it. Joey Porter Jr., Penn State. Guy 6'2 and a half, 193 pounds with a 34-inch arm length. This is a guy that the Giants might look at if they can get him late. He's an outside press man scheme, which he fits the body type, doesn't fit the scheme so much, but I think he's got some talent there.
I think he does too. He's just overly aggressive, and I think he's going to got to change some things up to succeed in the NFL. But he did have good tape in college when he didn't get called for any holding and stuff like that. All righty, number 3, Cam Smith, South Carolina, who I know you liked a lot, Rob. When we talked about him, I liked him a lot more on tape than I thought I would. I do think he's a legitimate option for us at number 25 there overall. 6'1", 180 pounds, 31 and 5/8 arm, outside man coverage scheme, a guy who is someone who counts on his IQ, counts on what he sees in the field much more than he does his physical, but very versatile, and I think he's going to have a long, good career in this league here.
Yeah.
On to number 2.
Cam Smith's like your Swiss Army knife. Number 2,
yes.
Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack.
Well, this is
6'1".
Oregon and Oregon
Yeah.
State. So we have 3 guys at the state of Oregon overall.
Yeah. No one talks about that part of the United States. Anyway, he's 6'1". Sorry if you're listening from there. He's 6'1", 197 pounds with a 32-inch arm length, which is another great fit for the Giants, but we probably will not see him come down our way at 25.
Oh, he'll be long way before then.
Yeah. He is an outside corner, and he fits almost any scheme, if not every scheme.
Yeah, no, he can go anywhere. He can go zone, he can go in man, he can go on the inside, he can go on the outside. My biggest issue for him is the lack of fight. I don't see the excitement. I don't see the passion. I don't see the heart. And I've heard the same thing from scouts that have, talked to him already at the combine and such as well, the same exact concern. Now, none of those obviously who name who they are, so who knows how legit those rumors are. I don't see it in the field. And if I'm going to pick you as a top 10, top 15 pick, I need to know that you freaking love football. Football is your life. You will do anything to succeed in it. And I just don't see that in him. So, unless behind the scenes he's different than what he shows out in public.
He might have a great poker face. He might steal all your money.
Poker face. Alrighty. On to number 1. One is the loneliest number that they'll ever.
Unless you draft number 1, then you're the highest paid number.
Yes. Go for it. Your turn, Rob.
Oh, I get to go again?
Oh, that's right. It is my turn. I lost track of it. I'll take it.
We flipped it.
You know how much I love. You know how much I love this player here. Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, 5'11 and a half, 181 pounds, 31 and 1/4 inch arms. Outside, inside coverage scheme guy with that does press man, does off man. He's also a guy that I think is a great fit for our defense. Again, he'll be long gone, I think, by the time we pick unless we trade down. Okay. But I'm telling you right now, if we were trading down for one player in this draft, this is the player I would want. I think he's an excellent player. I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber type of cornerback in this league. I think he's that good. The only issue and concern I have with him is his weight. I wish he had about 10 more pounds on him. But in the end, it worked for him in college. We talked about as well, he only played his last 2 years in high school as well. So this is a guy who only played football for the last 5 years. He has not reached his ceiling, folks. No. This kid is going to be special. I'm telling you, whoever gets him, and if it's the freaking Eagles, I'm going to flip my you-know-what. But whoever gets him is getting a really special player, and they're going to really like that pick for years to come and look back at that moment as a good moment. That's for sure. All righty. So that concludes our top 20 corners in the league here.
20.
As Connor says, you got to fight for your right to party LOL, or play football. All righty, guys. So next episode we're going to do for you guys Friday, we're going to go through all of the big name offensive linemen in the draft. So we adjusted some things because I really want to try to get every single position group except special teams. So I know none of you already care about special teams, let's be honest. Not trying to be mean, to trying to be honest. I don't think anybody would tune into our punter and kicker show. I want to know what long snappers are available. But, also we have those spots sort of taken here. So next up will be the offensive linemen. So we're going to go over the top 10 tackles, the top 10 interior offensive line as well. Obviously, the emphasis for us is going to be interior offensive line because that's where we really need some help. Though, honestly, it's not out of the realm of possibilities for the Giants to use their 4th or 5th round pick on a swing tackle kind of guy. Because let's be honest, besides Evan Neal, who we still have some concerns there, and Andrew Thomas, who's just a freaking beast, it's not like you can sit there and say, that's our swing tackle. That's the guy we're putting in there if the other guy gets injured. We need a guy like that. So we're going to go over some tackles with you guys as well, along with going over the guards and the centers. After that, we're going to go over with you guys the edge group as well. So on Monday here. So like I said, we'll keep on trucking position by position here, going with at least 20 players each episode. And then we're going to go ahead and, give you guys all the information we can leading up to the draft. Keep in mind, on the first 2 nights of the draft, Thursday and Friday, we will be live for the entire draft. So we'll be live a little bit before the draft. We're going to run down everything with you guys as far as what we see going on in the last-minute rumors and news and notes and all that kind of fun stuff there. And then we'll go ahead and, like I said, be with you for each individual pick there. We're going to have a lot of guests on as well. We have a lot of people that are invited on. A lot of people RSVP'd and said yes. So, like I said, we're expecting to have a fun time here, guys. So mark your calendars for those days as well. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a party.
Super.
So, guys, as always, want to take a moment to thank you guys for listening in here what these goofballs had to say. If you're listening on live, keep in mind we're on live on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitch, we're on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn was acting up today for some reason. I didn't want to go on LinkedIn, so this episode might not be on LinkedIn. Honestly, the best ways to do it are Facebook or YouTube. That's what you have your most other buddies on there. If you do Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, though, your comment will pop up live. You can be part of the show like that. Obviously, it's available after the fact as well if you don't have time to watch live or you're busy that particular time frame. And of course, if you prefer to listen and to drive into work the next day, we're available on audio platforms as well. Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, pretty much every single podcast app there is known to man. If we're not on there, that just tells you all you need to know. You need to delete that app and start a brand new one. That's all there is to it. Just tells you everything you need to know. Of course, if you like the show as well, sponsorships are available at buymeacupofcoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Again, that's buymeacupofcoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. All righty, folks. So again, we will see you all on Fridays. We start talking about some hog mollies, as Gellerman used to call them, the hog mollies.
Hog molly.
Hog mollies. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man! G-Man! It's a G-Man!
G-Man. It's a G-Man.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?